My name is Bud, aka the Vigilante Bud Johnson, Sensei Bud, and Ghost of Socrates on YouTube. This is episode 1 of the Dead Logic Vlog. I started this vlog to discuss topics that are important to me. I'd like to tell some stories from personal experience and share what lessons I've learned along the way. I have a list of fun topics I'm looking forward to talking about as well. Lesson 1 here is don't take yourself too seriously. But before we get into any of that, you should know a little about me. Here's an introduction to me and this vlog I've started. Johnson isn't my government name. It's a nickname I've had since grade school, Bud Johnson. For me, it's as much my name as anything listed on my tax forms or my driver's license. Bud, however, is my real name, but I wasn't given that name when I was born. When I was hatched out of the egg, I was given the name Frank Allen Weber, which sounds like it should be the name of a famous painter or architect. I was named after my biological father, whom I have almost no memory of. He had a different middle name. I never knew what it was. Doesn't really matter. I do have a few memories of my biological father's mother, my paternal grandmother, but she's a story for another day. I wasn't even a year old when my mom and Frank separated. He disappeared, and Mom and I went to live with her parents. No one in my family called me Frank because that was his name. My grandfather gave me the nickname Buddy because I was his little buddy. We were pals. He would take me on bike rides, take me to the park. We did a lot of things together. When I was 4 years old, my mom got married to the man who would become my dad, and he adopted me. The day he adopted me, Buddy became my legal first name, and my last name became my dad's last name. Interestingly enough, Bud Johnson is the nickname my dad gave me, but again, that's a story for another time. By the time I reached 6th grade, I shortened my name to just Bud. Since then, it's become my legal first name. I was in grade school in the 80s. That was not the best decade to be a kid growing up with the name Bud. In the 80s, before Bill Cosby became Bill Cosby, he was Bill Cosby, and he had an incredibly popular TV show called The Cosby Show. And on that show, he played Heathcliff Huxtable, a doctor, a husband, and a father. He had a wife, and they had a bunch of kids. The youngest daughter was named Rudy, and Rudy had a friend named Kenny, but she always called him Bud. Over and over, at school, after school, on the playground, I kept hearing kids and even adults sometimes call me Bud. It was kind of annoying, but I got used to it. It wasn't any worse than all the beer jokes I heard over the years. But the one thing that really got to me, that left me emotionally and mentally scarred.
My buddy, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy, wherever I go, he goes. My buddy, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy, I'll teach him everything that I know. My buddy and me like to climb up a tree. My buddy and me, we're the best friends it could be.
Day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, hearing kids in the hallways singing,
My buddy, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy, wherever I go, he goes.
Urge to kill rising.
That song haunted me. Even long after grade school and after high school, even after I earned a college degree, whenever I would think of that doll or that song, I would just... But I've learned to cope, and now I'm a healthy and well-adjusted adult.
Allegedly.
It's important to acknowledge and process your emotions, even if it's over something as silly as a commercial jingle, because if it stays buried inside you, that emotion will fester and grow. And if you continue to bottle up your emotions, eventually the bottle will overflow, and things are going to spill out in unhealthy and likely damaging ways. Now you need to understand, I'm old school. When I was growing up with my friends on the block, if we had a disagreement, we'd get into a fist fight until one of our parents called us home for dinner. After that, we were cool and everything went back to normal. You see, we had certain ideas of what it meant to be a real man. You see, I was taught to believe that emotions are a woman thing. But as I got older, I realized that regardless of gender, we're all humans, and all humans have emotions. So we should learn how to cope with them. And that starts with acknowledging that they exist instead of burying them deep down.
Acknowledge me.
That's a lot easier for me to say than do. But anything we want to become better at requires practice. For me, my practice is taking the My Buddy song and making it my own. I'm not going to let it haunt me any longer.
If he wants to be the big dog, barrr.
Instead of letting that silly song get the best of me, I'm claiming it as my own, and I've made a remix of it.
It's mine. You're a madman. I've come to the right place now.
Wanna play? My buddy.
What?
My buddy.
What?
My buddy.
Wow.
My buddy and me, like the climb up a tree. My buddy and me, we're the best friends that could be.
Oh, yeah.
My buddy. My buddy.
Yeah, boy!
My buddy and me.
My Buddy from Play School.
I'm a martial arts instructor. I've also recently started the journey of being a musician. I make beats and remixes on YouTube, I play the guitar, and I've been learning more about music theory. I understand the importance of practicing. Handling your emotions requires just as much practice as learning a new song or a new self-defense technique. This vlog is, in part, a way for me to practice working through issues that I can't repress or ignore any longer, so that I can be a healthier version of myself. Mental health is something I've struggled with my entire life.
Don't you want your last-minute instructions?
And mental health is definitely on my list of discussion topics, along with things like understanding your self-worth, setting goals, relationships, which I've always been bad at, but we'll get into that later. And pro wrestling and horror movies are on my list as well, so it's going to be a fun time.
My revenge is near. Correction, my fist is near.
If you stuck with me up to this point, I appreciate you. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you next time.